Well, good morning. Happy holidays, everyone. A special hearing in the governor's room, a lovely room here at City Hall. So while the Blue Room's out of commission, we welcome you to another part of City Hall. And very, very happy holidays to everyone. We're going to be talking about 3 bills today, all of which I'll be signing at a later date. First, Intro 609A, which makes it easier for homeowners and businesses to determine whether geothermal energy is cost-effective. The sponsor is Councilmember Costa Constantinides, chair of our Committee on Environmental Protection. Now, right now, nearly 3/4 of our city's emissions of greenhouse gases come from buildings. A way to drive that number down is by using geothermal energy as a renewable source for cooling and heating. Another step away from fossil fuel-powered burners and cooling towers. And that is very consistent with our overall commitment to reduce total emissions by 80% by the year 2050. This legislation will certainly help us to achieve that goal. The bill requires the city to develop and make publicly available a tool that helps building owners understand how cost-effective a geothermal system would be for their particular building. And it marks the first time that city policy will factor in the social cost of carbon, the long-term impact of its emissions into that cost efficiency analysis. The bill also requires the city to report on the number of city-owned buildings in which geothermal energy is determined to be cost-effective, and develop standards for installing and maintaining geothermal systems. I want to thank Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito. I want to thank Director of our Office of Sustainability, Nilda Mesa, our Commissioner for Design and Construction, Fenyoski Peña-Mora, and, of course, Chair Constantinides, who both is the bill sponsor and the chair of the appropriate committee. So with that, do we have any testimony? Yes, we do. First of all, I'll call them both up. I'd like to call up Billy Roberti of NYGeo and Bob Wyman. Right there. There you go.
Good morning, Mayor de Blasio.
Good morning.
My name is Billy Roberti. I live on Long Island, and I'm with New York Geothermal Energy Organization. I'm delighted. I thought you were going to be signing this, so I wrote, I am delighted that Mayor de Blasio is continuing on the path to reducing New York City's carbon footprint by signing this bill, which promotes the use of geothermal heat pumps wherever they prove feasible and economical. Geothermal heat pumps heat without fire, so there are no greenhouse gases released. Not only are they clean and renewable, but they are the most efficient way to heat and cool buildings. And this is based on the environmental protection agencies. This means they will lower peak demand in summer with the potential of holding the line with increases or even lowering electric rates. This benefits every ratepayer, not just the geothermal heat pump user. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well said. Welcome.
Let me. Sorry, I have.
Take the microphone out. There you go.
I have the same problem you have often.
I have it all the time.
The mic's always at the wrong level. I also came expecting to say thank you for signing it, but let me just say, please do sign this when the time comes. I'd also like very much to thank the City Council for doing a great job of what I think is really pioneering legislation. As you stated, this really is, I think, one of the first times that a municipality has required that geothermal be considered in evaluating options for new construction and retrofitting. It's also, I think, one of the first times a municipality has followed on Obama's lead by requiring that the social cost of carbon be considered in making budgeting decisions. Obama, of course, made an executive order to that effect some years ago. I'd like to suggest, if I could, that when we think about geothermal, even though we haven't done much with it in the city so far, we need to think forward to 2050, when we intend to have 80% reduction in carbon emissions. The reality is that by 2050, we will not be primarily heating and cooling our buildings with fossil fuels as we do today. If you look back to the past, you'll see that the city has gone through a number of fuels for heating. We started off with wood. We transitioned from wood to coal, from coal to oil, from oil to gas. And now we're in the process of moving off of combustion as a heating source into the use of electricity, running efficient, clean, heat pumps as a way to harvest energy from the ground and from the environment around us, as opposed to burning, as Billy said, producing heat with fire. It's now, I think, time that the city begins planning the process, beginning planning the process by which we will, in the year 2050, arrive at a city which is primarily not using fossil fuels. We'll go through the same sort of transition we have in the past, where each of our fuels in the past has had a 50, 60, 70-year time frame, wood to coal to oil, et cetera. And now is the time that we need to begin the process of planning how will we move off of fossil fuels by 2050 for heating, the largest source of emissions in this city. So thank you for looking to the future, and thank you very much for this first step towards eliminating fossil fuels as the source of heating and pollution in our buildings.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you very much. Pass that over. All right, so I will be signing that bill in the near term. Let me now move to Intro 65A. Intro 65A allows me to authorize a program to reimburse non-public schools, including private and religious schools, for the cost of security guard services. The sponsor is Councilmember David Greenfield. Non-public schools with 300 or more students will qualify for the reimbursement program. The spending cap will be $19.8 million in the first full year of implementation. The bill requires schools that take part in this program to report criminal and other significant public safety-related incidents to the NYPD. Additional security guards will, of course, enhance school safety and community safety, and will put more eyes and ears on the ground, which will be closely coordinated with the NYPD and will improve the ability of the NYPD and other public safety agencies to keep New York safe. I want to thank Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito, Councilmember Vanessa Gibson, the chair of our Public Safety Committee, and Councilmember David Greenfield, the bill's sponsor. And I'd like to welcome public testimony. I'll call up a few people at a time. First, Avi Spitzer of the Sephardic Community Federation and Joe Rosenberg of the Catholic Community Relations Council.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Mayor. On behalf of the Sephardic Community Federation, we wanted to thank you on behalf of the parents and the children that we represent for making sure Intro 65 became a reality and was able to get passed. Furthermore, like you said, the fact that this doesn't take away resources from the NYPD while adding more eyes and ears in the city is an added benefit. All the children in New York City will now be able to have a safer learning environment because of this legislation. We recognize that this is a historic piece of legislation and are confident that it will make a difference in the lives of many, many children. So without your support, this never would have happened. And so we thank you for recognizing that all children need security regardless of where they go to school. And we also thank you for your leadership for this great city. Thank you
very much. Joe.
Good morning, Mayor. I'm Joe Rosenberg. I'm the director of the Catholic Community Relations Council, representing the Archdiocese of New York and the Diocese of Brooklyn on local legislative and policy matters. Thank you for your recognition of the need to provide protection for the children of New York City attending non-public schools, and your support and leadership in the passage and signing of Intro 65A. There are more than 80,000 children in the schools of the Archdiocese of New York and the Diocese of Brooklyn in New York City. When it comes to the safety of our city's school children, there should not be a preference for one population of students over any other. Public school students have safety agents in their schools, and with the signing of this legislation, starting on January 5th, you will be ensuring that many private school students will have the same protection. This is important not just to the students, but to their families as well. We look forward to working together with you, your agencies, and the City Council to ensure that this program is a success. Thank you again.
I'd like to call up now three more speakers. David Tannenbaum of Aguda Israel, Jake Adler of the Orthodox Union, and Sasha Kessler of UJA Federation of New York.
Well, good morning. My name is David Tannenbaum, and I'm speaking on behalf of Agudath Israel of America. Mr. Mayor, we thank you for your support on Intro 65A. Close to 250,000 children attend non-public schools in New York City. That is approximately 20% of the city's children, and their safety and security are as important as that of children who attend public schools. There is no legal or constitutional basis for discriminating against any child in a New York City school. Currently, school safety agents are assigned to every public school. We believe that the city must provide an equivalent level of security for students who attend non-public schools. It is a simple matter of equity. All the children in New York City are precious, and their safety should be our priority. The police department, the fire department, the hospitals, and all other city agencies that serve and protect the lives of our citizens provide their services equitably without discrimination. Intro 65A is consistent with this policy. Our community feels especially vulnerable in the face of rising international and homegrown terrorism and anti-Semitism. Our parents are fearful when they send their children off to school each morning. This new law will help tremendously in increasing security and thereby addressing their fear and calming their nerves. We understand and we appreciate that this protection comes with a cost. We are grateful to Council Member David Greenfield for his leadership on this issue, to his colleagues on the Council for their support, and especially to you, the Mayor, and the Council Speaker for getting behind this measure. Thank you, and best wishes for a happy and healthy New Year.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. My name is Jake Adler. I'm the New York State Political Director for the Orthodox Union. Before I begin talking about the bill itself, I want to personally thank you for your leadership on this issue. OU is proud to have worked with a broad and diverse coalition from all faiths in New York City to support this bill. For too long, the protection of school children in this city has been governed by an arbitrary standard that determined a child's level of safety by where they attended school. Intro 65A marks a significant step towards rectifying this wrong and affirming the principle that all school children, regardless of where they attend school, are equal and worthy of safety at school. At a time when religious communities in our city are increasingly anxious about security threats, both here and abroad, this bill will have an immediate and positive impact on the families of nearly 200,000 school children in non-public schools in this city. At least half of all Jewish, Catholic, and Muslim students in this city attending non-public schools will receive equivalent protection under this bill. While more still needs to be done to ensure that all our children in non-public schools receive adequate levels of security and resources, we thank you, Mayor de Blasio, for taking decisive action in support of this bill. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you, Mayor de Blasio and members of the administration for the opportunity to testify today in support of Intro 65. My name is Sasha Kessler, here on behalf of UJA Federation. Intro 65 is an essential landmark piece of legislation that ensures the safety of all children in New York City, regardless of what type of school they attend. 200,000 additional New York school children will be protected by properly trained and equipped security officers. Furthermore, the school safety officers will earn a living wage, creating several hundred new good jobs in New York City. This legislation is supported by a historic and broad coalition of Jewish, Muslim, Catholic, and labor leaders. UJA Federation supports a vast network of Jewish day schools from all denominations and in all parts of New York City. Immediately after the legislation was passed in City Council, administrators at Reform, Conservative, and Pluralistic day schools reached out to UJA expressing their excitement that the legislation will ease the financial burden of schools striving to protect their students and their children. Intro 65 has been praised and lauded by members of the Jewish community from across the religious spectrum. This legislation can be a double win for the city. Protect every child, regardless of what type of school they attend, and while creating new living wage jobs for New Yorkers. In an era of rising foreign and domestic attacks, it's the obligation of city government to keep our most vulnerable safe without regard to where their parents choose to send them to school. UJA Federation unequivocally supports Intro 65 and encourages that it be signed into law as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you, everyone. And again, I'll be looking forward to signing that bill at a later date. We have one more piece of legislation, and that is Intro 128. Intro 128 requires the city's Economic Development Corporation to share annual job creation reports with all of the city's community boards. The sponsor is Councilmember Fernando Cabrera. These reports include information on projected and actual jobs created by EDC's many projects and initiatives. This way, community boards can understand how EDC's projects are performing, whether or not they're delivering the jobs that they were planned to create. Currently, these reports are distributed to the mayor's office, the council, the comptroller, the public advocate, and the borough president, and made available online. We'll be glad to add community boards, which are such an important source of information to the neighborhoods they represent, to that list. As agreed upon with the Council, we will electronically distribute the report to all 59 community boards in order to be environmentally friendly. Want to thank Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito, the President and CEO of EDC, Maria Torres Springer, Chair of the Economic Development Committee in the Council, Dan Garodnick, and the bill's sponsor, Councilman Fernando Cabrera. I don't think anyone's here to comment on that, so I'm just going to summarize. Again, that bill will also be signed at a later date. Summarize these three pieces of legislation very briefly in Spanish. En la audiencia de hoy discutimos tres leyes que buscan aumentar la seguridad en las escuelas que no son públicas, ayudar a los neoyorquinos a determinar si la energía renovable, conocida como geotérmica, es más económica, dar a las juntas comunitarias acceso por Internet a los reportes anuales de la ciudad sobre creación de empleos. That is all of the legislation we're covering today. Want to again wish everyone a very, very happy holiday season and a happy and healthy new year as well. And this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.